What if most Catholics are obeying the Church, but disobeying God? What if obedience itself has become the greatest test of faith? What if millions of sincere believers believe they are pleasing God, but are actually obeying something else entirely? Not rebellion, not atheism, not sin, but misplaced obedience. This question is uncomfortable. It challenges tradition, it challenges authority, and most dangerously, it challenges certainty. So before reacting emotionally, promise yourself one thing. Listen to the logic first. Chapter 1. The difference between God and an institution. From the very beginning, religion has struggled with one core problem. How do you preserve divine guidance once the prophet is gone? Institutions arise to protect teachings. Structures form to maintain order. Rules are written to prevent chaos. This is not evil by default, but history shows a repeating pattern. A divine message begins simple and moral. Followers organize to protect it. Authority solidifies, loyalty shifts from truth to structure. Questioning becomes disobedience. At this point, something subtle but critical happens. God's voice becomes secondary to institutional interpretation. Many Catholics today sincerely believe, if I obey the Church, I obey God. But that statement assumes something massive, that the Church is incapable of deviation. Is that assumption logically sound? Chapter 2. Obedience, the most dangerous virtue. Obedience is praised across all religions, but obedience without discernment has produced history's worst outcomes. Ask yourself, were people who followed corrupt clergy in medieval Europe disobedient or obedient? Were believers who defended slavery using scripture obeying God or authority? Were those who silenced scientists obeying faith or fear? In every era, the majority believed they were righteous. Why? Because obedience feels safe, questioning feels dangerous, and institutions understand this psychology perfectly. Chapter 3. When Jesus challenged religious authority. Here is a question Catholics rarely confront directly. Who did Jesus criticize the most? Not prostitutes, not pagans, not non-believers. He confronted religious scholars, legal authorities, temple leadership. Why? Because they claimed exclusive authority over God. They obeyed rules perfectly. They defended tradition fiercely. They punished dissent ruthlessly. And Jesus called them blind guides. This creates a logical problem. If Jesus opposed religious authority when it contradicted God's moral intent, why would blind obedience be virtuous today? Chapter 4. The psychology of the Church knows best. Institutions survive by stability, not truth. This is not an insult. It is organizational reality. A church cannot constantly admit uncertainty, cannot encourage mass theological independence, cannot allow every believer to interpret freely without losing control. So it develops doctrines such as apostolic authority, infallibility, explicit or implied, sacred tradition equal to Scripture. These doctrines protect unity, not necessarily truth. And once unity becomes sacred, dissent becomes sin. Chapter 5. Tradition versus revelation. Catholic theology often places tradition alongside revelation. But logic demands we ask, if tradition evolves, and God does not, what happens when they diverge? History proves they already have. Teachings have changed on. Usury, salvation, exclusivity, language of worship, treatment of non-Christians. If the Church can be wrong before, why is it impossible for it to be wrong now? Faith that forbids this question is not faith, it is submission. Chapter 6. Moral outsourcing. Many believers no longer ask, is this morally true? They ask, does the Church approve? This is moral outsourcing. It relieves responsibility. It reduces anxiety. It eliminates accountability. But God never outsourced morality. Prophets were sent precisely because institutions failed. Chapter 7. The fear of thinking. Independent thought is often framed as pride, but refusing to think is not humility, it is avoidance. Real humility says, I may be wrong. Even my leaders may be wrong. Only God is absolute. If your faith collapses the moment authority is questioned, what exactly are you believing in? God or structure? Chapter 8. Why this question feels like an attack, because identity is tied to belonging. For many Catholics, the church is family, the church is culture, the church is history, the church is safety. Questioning feels like betrayal, but truth has always felt like betrayal to those invested in certainty. Chapter 9. Obedience versus conscience. Conscience is not rebellion. It is the final safeguard God placed inside human beings. When conscience is overridden by authority, atrocities follow. History does not forgive blind obedience. God does not reward it either. Chapter 10. A thought experiment. Imagine standing before God, not a priest, not a bishop, not a pope, just you. And he asks, why did you believe this? Will you answer, because they told me to? Or, because I sought truth with sincerity? One answer is safe, the other is faithful. Mid-video authority reset signature line. Pause here, because this is the moment where comfort ends and responsibility begins. What you do with this information determines whether you seek truth or simply defend identity. Chapter 11. This is not anti-Catholic. This is not an attack. It is an invitation. Faith that cannot survive questioning was never faith. It was inheritance. God does not fear inquiry, institutions do. Chapter 12. The cost of honest faith. Honest faith may cost social approval, religious comfort, institutional certainty, but it gains integrity, accountability, direct responsibility before God. Chapter 13. The silent majority. Most Catholics are good people, sincere, moral, devout. That makes this question more serious, not less. Good people can be wrong when systems are unquestioned. History proves this relentlessly. Chapter 14. Final reflection. If obedience replaces conscience, if tradition replaces truth, if authority replaces God, then religion becomes what it was never meant to be. Truth does not need permission, God does not need protection, and faith does not require blindness. If your belief system is true, it will survive examination. If it is not, it will demand silence. The choice has always been yours. Psychological non-begging CTA. If this message unsettled you, that is not a weakness, it is awareness. Stay here. Engage with ideas that challenge comfort. Truth is not found in echo chambers, it is found in courage.